All right, everyone, welcome back to this beautiful podcast. Without further ado, let's get into it. Guys, just being able to come out here and not hear anything. I gotta go again. Oh, hey, that's fun. Y'all gotta come try it out. What's going on, everyone? Andre here. I'm here with Steven, and we are at Social Latitude. Guys, this is a really cool place here in Greenville. And yeah, I figured why not? I wanted to just do a walkthrough of this, but this man is legendary here in Greenville. He has a box full of information. I wanted to kind of like get some information about why he did this, who it's for, what it's about. So yeah, without further ado, let us know. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So my wife and I, Summer, we started actually a photography company about 16 years ago in Greenville, Famzing Photography and Video, which you're very familiar with.
Very familiar.
We had been wedding photographers for actually 20 years, about 10 when we actually moved here to Greenville, and looked at the landscape of photography, took our corporate backgrounds and our passion of photography and really wanted to kind of flip photography on its head and really give an opportunity not only for us but also other inspiring photographers and videographers to be able to kind of chase their passion without having to do all of the rigmarole of typical running a business, taxes, contracts, meeting with the couples and things like that. And it was a very different approach to photography, both from the corporate side and the wedding photography side. And actually, surprisingly, it took off, you know, wildly. And so the studio now is going on I think its 14th year. And we've, through what we did and through the actions of just taking the traditional normal things and flipping them on their heads and really focusing on efficiency and really customer satisfaction, which is our sole focus. It made the studio really the highest rated studio in South Carolina, actually almost in the Southeast at this point. Plus, it gives us the fact that we have 40 amazing wedding photographers and wedding videographers and corporate photographers and corporate videographers, a place to not only support their families but also have the opportunity to be with their families and not have to have the toils of running their own business.
Absolutely.
And so the question we get asked all the time is, why in the hell did you go from that to this? And really, long story short, Summer and I went up north to go visit some family, and we have adult kids. We were visiting my sister. She has small children, so we're kind of trying to figure out an activity to do together. And so we stumbled upon this laser tag arena near DC, and it was completely different than anything we've ever done before. And it was so much fun, but then all of a sudden, a lot of kids started to arrive. And don't get me wrong, I love kids, you know, they're great, but the whole dynamic of the experience changed to where instead of it, you know, because the laser tag was like mission focused. So as adults, we're like, okay, we're gonna strategize and do this, and then all of a sudden a 6-year-old comes up and shoots you in the back, and you're like, what, you know? And that kind of led us on this journey. We were fortunate to invest in some real estate. After the pandemic, we realized it really just wasn't something that we wanted to be involved with rental properties anymore. So we sold them off, and we were sitting on the beach one day, you know, because we had the condos on the beach, and I looked at Summer, and she's like, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I don't know." And she goes, "Well, let's build a place for adults to play. Like, you know, we love our kids, but you know, there's nothing that bothers me more than going to like a family fun center at 9 o'clock at night where I want to play a game, and there's screaming kids everywhere, and you know, and so that's kind of the premise of how Social Latitude was born."
That is awesome, man. That's a quick story, but and I also want to touch on a couple of things. You said surprisingly, Famzing took off after you guys had started. He said surprising. It wasn't surprising to me. These are two of the most hard-working people I know in the content industry. So, kind of flashing back just a little bit, I actually used to work with Steven and paid them to train me and help me understand the mindset of like not only working with the bride, but also running a business. And I'm forever thankful for that. And it's just interesting to me to see that. I remember we spoke, it had to be about eight to 9 months ago. It was actually around my gaming trailer. Which don't no longer do that anymore. And I was like, what's the next move for you? And you're like, man, it's going to be fun. I know whatever it is, it's going to be fun. And I brought my fiance here for a soft opening, and we got to mess around and do the one thing you guys have to try out, which is going to lead me into my next question, is the digital axe throwing. Tell me about that. How did that come about? Tell me about kind of what you guys have going on here. You don't have to touch on everything.
Sure.
But yeah, tell me a little bit about it.
So two of our kind of our flagship things. Axe throwing is not a new thing.
Yep.
The new thing, which is behind us, is the Top Golf Swing Suits, which we can talk about that in a minute. Really, when we sat down, and it kind of goes back to our family roots, is that I said, whatever we bring, it has to be unique, and it has to be, run perfectly, and it has to be something that when people walk in, they just say, wow, and it's, so by complete, honestly, accident, I want to do axe throwing, but I didn't want to do the traditional axe throwing, because the traditional axe throwing, people immediately go, this is unsafe. I'm scared to do it. I'm going to chop my hand off, and there's that famous YouTube video of the girl throwing the axe, it hits it and comes flying back at her, right? We've all seen that, right? So, so after a lot of research, my Summer is the queen of research, we stumbled upon a system that was not only different and unique, but also incredibly safe. So, so it's actually a system that incorporates projections mapping. So you're still throwing a real axe, there is still that aspect there. But the way the wood is designed, you're not throwing into the side of a board, you're throwing into what we call end grain. So if you think about like the lumberjacks, when they cut off the big tree, they're throwing into the end grain. That's what you're throwing into. So what that means is that the axe will stick more, which means it's much more enjoyable, which I've heard over and over again, where people walk in, they go, I don't like axe throwing because it doesn't stick, and then all of a sudden they're winning games,
Absolutely.
And so it's safer. The rubber backing that we have around the wood, it has a system built into it. So if you miss the target entirely, it's just going to hit it and fall to the ground. It's never going to ever fly back at you the way it's designed. So it's incredibly safe, but it's also a lot more fun than traditional because you have the projection mapping on there. So not only are you throwing at a target, the target will move around on you. So that makes it more of a skill set, but then you can play other games like zombie dodgeball or not, excuse me, zombie, you're throwing axes at zombies' heads, or
the duck hunt.
The duck hunt, we had a Christmas theme game for Christmas. So, whereas when I played axe throwing, after about 30 minutes, you're like, oh, this is boring. Okay, it's the same thing. I have people going, oh, I've been playing for an hour, can I get another hour? Because I haven't touched all the games yet. So that was what we really wanted, that wow factor of when people walk in and they think it's just axe throwing and then they see it's completely different. It's that, excitement and that wow factor of hearing them like cheer because, they hit the zombie versus, missing the target. So that's been a lot of fun having the axe throwing in here.
Yeah, and I know we came out here for the soft launch and all of the golfing simulators, which we'll touch on that in just a second, they were all booked up. So we were like, let's do an hour of axe throwing. And I was like, an hour is a long time. And we get in there, before I get through every one of the games, I'm at like, it's got your timer up there on the top. It's like 8 minutes left. I'm like, that was extremely fast. And it was just me and my fiance throwing axes. And definitely a fun time. I know I FaceTime my brother during, and he's like, if you get 10 to stick, I'll be surprised, And I'm like, and it just sticks. So it's a fun thing. So tell me a little bit about these simulators that we're sitting in.
Absolutely. The original concept, we thought it was mini golf, but obviously the square foot requirements for mini golf is pretty substantial. And plus, group therapy. Matthew owns Group Therapy, is a good friend of mine. And when he was conceptualizing his concept, we were conceptualizing ours around the same time. And he's like, well, I'm doing mini golf. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want to do what you're doing. And so actually our CFO, she was on the women's championship team for Wofford.
Oh, wow.
And she says, well, why don't you put a golf simulator in? And I was like, and it's funny because people walk in like, oh, Steven must love playing golf. And I'm like, I am horrible at golf. The only excuse I play for golf is to drink beer on a cart.
Literally.
Like that's why I would play golf. So having a golf simulator was fine. But again, Summer, the queen of research
Yeah.
and R&D, she stumbled upon the Topgolf brand of Swing Suites.
Yeah.
And so through the whole process of conceptualizing and building Social Latitude, everything that we put in here, we heavily researched as far as would it be fun? Would it be something that people would want to do not just once but over and over again?
Yeah.
And so the Topgolf Swing Suites, even though the name Topgolf was relevant to going to Topgolf, they're more than that.
Yeah.
And so we wanted it when you walk in the door, and let's just say you're with a group of friends, and your fiance's like, I don't want to golf. Well, she can go to the social lounge, have a glass of wine, and watch atmosphere or watch the game or whatever, and you and me can go play golf, or we can play anything but golf. So the simulators not only feature the Topgolf games, but an extension of the Topgolf. So my personal favorite is Dual Jam. So you're hitting a ball with the ball. It's like Bejeweled and Topgolf had a baby. You can play for hours. It's so much fun. Where you can't do that at Topgolf, but you can still do the Topgolf experiences. But if you're like, I don't even know how to hit a golf ball, you have that experience of being able to play other games like zombie dodgeball or carnival games or hockey or football. Football is huge. Everyone comes in and loves playing the football, which is being redesigned and relaunched in January. So we're super excited about that.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw the. I was looking behind you, and you got baseballs, soccer balls, footballs. You got a hockey thing. It's a little bit of everything here.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, man. I know this is. So now, is there any age limit for playing in here? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So during the day, we encourage everyone to bring their kids, their families. There is no age limit for the Swing Suites. Fracturing, we do require that you are 13 years or older. If you're under 18, you have to be accompanied by an adult. But here, it's really fun to watch the zombie dodgeball. That's kind of my personal favorite. As I'm working in the space, I glance over and the zombies start to come out, and the little kids start to scream because they're trying to stop the zombies from getting out. It's a lot of fun. But then, in that night, it's really cool to watch like couples connect in here because I've seen the golf simulators where if you're not into golf and your partner's playing, you're just like, this is so boring. Versus then, I have a group, they come in probably weekly now, and the guys play golf for an hour, but then the guys have to sit down and the girls play for an hour. So it's this really fun trade-off. So it's really fun just to see people have fun, actually get a good workout and connect, and but also they can have an adult beverage during that during the playtime.
And I know, tell me as we kind of tap on that. 40-foot bar, is that right?
Yes, I like your segue tapping in on that.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, tap in on that since we're throwing those in. I'm a margarita guy. I'll have a margarita any day of the week, almost any time. But tell us a little bit about the bar. How does that, do you guys make any specialty drinks? Tell me what's your favorite drink over there.
So I'm an old-fashioned kind of guy. I'm an old-school guy. So we're, although it's the 40-foot bar, Summer and I have a habit of anytime we go somewhere, we love to sit at the bar. Yeah. And so what always annoys me is when you walk into a place and there's like a little tiny baby bar and then you're like, and it's full. Yeah. And you're like, oh, I got to go. Yeah. So we wanted a big bar, but also our bar was designed with our bartenders in mind. We've been in the hospitality industry for 20 years, right? Yeah. So, the bar was designed to not only be fresh customer facing, so when you're sitting there, you have a big place to where you can just eat food on, work at, but also on the flip side, the bartenders, it's mirrored and designed so the bartenders actually have an easy time to make those specialty drinks. Our number one drink right now is the Mirror Ball. Okay. So it is a custom drink. It's a Tito's based forward drink. That actually glitters. So if you actually take a light on it, you swing it, it actually glitters. It's really cool. Yeah. We've got about 7 signature cocktails. It will be a rotating menu, as well as we have 6 beers on tap. We have wine on tap. Awesome. So if you're a wine connoisseur, we have a really, really great wine selection on tap. And the reason why we have it on tap, we are one of the very few places that have a nitrous system installed. So we can do stouts, we can do coffees. Next month we'll have Guinness on tap, which is a lot of people do Guinness properly on tap. But having the wine on tap, it keeps it fresh so that you're not opening a bottle and shoving a bottle, and there's a lot of air getting into the wine. So the wine's going to taste better. And then as far as we obviously have a full bar, so if you want that margarita,
that
fresh margarita,
you
can get it, yep.
Absolutely. And then if you don't mind, tap on your menu just a little bit.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about how you guys kind of curated that, what your thought process was. I know it's not, we're not going to give everything away, but I know it's like a little hidden gem. I will say that.
That's what we wanted. So we wanted to get away from the stigma that is bar food. So burgers and fries, and when you're when you're sitting at a bar and that's your full intention is just to sit at the bar, those are great menu items. What we want is if you're out here playing and you're throwing balls to kill zombies, or you're trying to throw a baseball to strike a guy out, you don't really want to sit on that really heavy food. So we decided to go ventless in our kitchen. So, but because you're ventless doesn't mean that you can't have really amazing food. So we wanted to be very sandwich and side forward. But when you eat the sandwich, we wanted you to have that experience of when you bite in it for the first time, you're like, and that's still my favorite part. As much as I love to see people play the games, I love to sit behind the bar and like somebody grabs a tomato pie sandwich, so I'm like, I don't understand this, and they bite it and they're like, and they're just shocked, and then they devour the whole thing. Like typically we need a sandwich, right? But also the way the kitchen is designed too. And the way our sandwich chefs are trained is that we never want that experience of like say a sub shop, where the first 5 bites are bread and then you get a little bit of yumminess and then the rest is bread. From bite 1 to bite none, we wanted you to have that full delicious experience all the way through. Awesome. All of our sauces are made in house. So even though people think sandwich or they think, oh, it's just packaged food you open up and you're tossing at us. Every single food item, there's something that's either done to it to elevate it or it's created so that when it's all brought together, so that when you have a sandwich you're not going to get anywhere else. Like you're not going to get a tomato pie sandwich anywhere else unless somebody sees this and makes one, right?
They get influenced by it.
The Cuba Italiano, it's a Cuban and Italian mashup. It's absolutely delicious. So it's just kind of that pleasant surprise, so that you might come here for the games and decide that maybe have a sandwich, but then you'll come back just to eat here.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted you to tap on that because I know it's in Greenville, it's very easy to go to a lot of local places, But I will say that this is a local place that you've got to come and not only play the games, but you got to try the food. As we're kind of wrapping up, I've got kind of 1 or 2 more questions for me. Tell me a little bit more. Now, we've talked about the digital axe throwing and the simulator. Tell me a little bit about the other games that we've got here that people can kind of spend some time at.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're not playing, so the axe throwing and the simulators are reservation or walk-ins. I strongly suggest reservations.
I strongly recommend reserving too.
I have a lot of people that get disappointed when they walk in. I'm like, I'm booked out all night long, but try me tomorrow. But it also gives an opportunity to play something else. So, so we have our classic arcade. So we got 3 arcade cabinets that you can play. Really the classics, the Pac-Mans, the Galagas, the Ninja Turtles, X-Men, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. So we didn't want to dedicate a cabinet to just one title, because if that title is broken, so if I wanted to play Miss Pac-Man and I walk in and it's broken, well, I can't play. I've got 3 other devices I can play on. We have our virtual pinball. So a lot of people are pleasantly surprised, where I'm a pinball kind of connoisseur. And when we were researching pinball, the #1 thing that happens in pinball is that you play and it breaks and they have to fix it. And there's a million moving parts, and so we didn't want to, again, we're customer service forward. So we did not want to have somebody come in and be disappointed because it's always broken. So our virtual pinball looks, feels, and acts like a real pinball machine, but you can play one of 384 different pinball boards.
Wow.
Which is fantastic. Which we knew was going to be popular was our Jet Pong. So Jet Pong is basically a play on beer pong, but it's all digital. And the pleasant surprise, which you got to come in and see it. But when you put the coin in and you start the game, that's
when you know. You're like, I'm somewhere a little different.
Yeah, exactly. So it gives, and then we have our electronic dartboards, so that it's self-scoring. So when you've had maybe a beer or 2, you don't feel like having to remember your score. It scores for you, and they're soft-tipped. So the safety aspect of, if somebody were to throw a dart and hit somebody by accident, it's not going to injure them because it's soft-tipped. So
cool. And then I know one of my favorite things you guys do is bingo. Tell me about bingo. What day do you guys do bingo? Yeah.
So bingo's actually out. So bingo's starting the new year. Bingo
Yep.
will be on Monday. So it's DJ Music Bingo.
Yep.
Our guy Gaspar comes in and has a great time doing it. He calls it Uno Mas Bingo because even though somebody gets bingo, everyone chants Uno Mas. So
One more.
and so we're giving away prizes,
awesome.
everything from swag to gift cards. It all depends on the week.
Yeah.
Happens every Monday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And that will be opened to all ages, is what we're going to plan on doing, so that we can everyone can have an advantage of bringing their kids and having some good times.
Having a good time.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time today,
Absolutely.
man. If there's I do want to give you a chance. If there's anything else you want to tell anyone, anything you've maybe forgotten, just one last chance to say anything on camera.
I mean, just come on out and play. We'd
Yeah.
love to have you. We're going to be here for a very long time.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
come back and play more and more again. And really, we're always looking to do things differently. So every time we come in, there's going to be something new. We're going to be releasing new axe throwing games once a month. So what you have on there now is only a tip of what we're going to offer in the future. And because we are partnering with the Topgolf brand, Topgolf games will not only evolve, but there'll be new games coming in every month. And if you're a golfer, they just dropped 5 new courses on me. So
awesome.
so if you want to play Pebble Beach, you can come in here
come on
and
by.
bring your clubs in, play Pebble Beach, and hang out for a couple of hours.
Yeah, well, that's awesome, man. I appreciate you for giving us this time today. I remember when I came in here, I was like, I have to come back. I have to come back. So it's a very easy place to come in here, spend a couple hours, and not even get to do everything. I appreciate you guys for sticking along with us this long. You guys know I love to be a real estate resource of choice. I love to help you guys when it comes to finding things to do when you're relocating here, visiting here. Guys, Greenville is a fun place. You just got to know kind of the things to do and the people to hang out with. Like this man. So I appreciate you guys. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like, and we will see you guys soon. Peace.